Well, it's always good when we have new sponsors on board here on Reusse Unchained. And Pat, you can relate to this one. Summit Orthopedics, if you're dealing with any type of pain involved with grab a pen, ankles, feet, back, neck, spine, elbows, hands, wrists, shoulders, hips.
How about knees? They got knees on that list.
Knees is on here. Yep.
I got the bad knees. That's I'll go see them.
Okay, so Summit Orthopedics can help you. No referrals needed. They do same-day appointments. They do walk-in orthopedic urgent care 7 days a week, 8 to 8 p. 25 locations across the Twin Cities. Learn more at summitortho.com, summitortho.com.
I got to go to Summit Ortho because my wife has bought me those old knee pads, those things you put over your knees that you see the old man walking through the mall like that. I told her, we ain't doing that. I'll stay home before I walk around with those things. Of course, those guys always wear shorts and then they wear their knee pads and then they're waddling along, they haven't worked, and I'm going to Summit to have them figure out what's wrong with my knees.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
You know who doesn't have bad knees though, but has a fat bank account is Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, it is. I thought Randball actually made a good point today that they really do. The NBA is stupid with these rules that if you get voted onto one of the top 3 teams, you're eligible for it's all subjective. There's nothing, it's not statistical or it's not anything. Then you're eligible for this incredible max contract, like $40 million more. So basically in their hearts, even though they aren't going to say it, the Wolves have to be hoping that he doesn't make one of the top 3 all NBA teams because it cost them another $40 million.
That's not based on games played, though. They finally changed that, so you can't play in 40 games and still get on.
Okay. But Lonzo Ball is still eligible, and he missed what? The year. Is it? Who's the one in Charlotte?
Well, LaMelo's in Charlotte. Lonzo may
never play again. Yeah. LaMelo, though, I'm still irritated about the fact that LaMelo was the rookie of the year with these idiots when Ant played every game. This guy missed like 25 games and they voted for in a season that was only a 72 game season, right? He played like 47 and they voted him the rookie of the year. What the hell's wrong with you people? Playing is very important. That's very important. Like Cat not playing last year, that was very important that he's not playing last year. Being on the court is very important. And, that should be almost your first thing you look at. How many games did this guy play? So that's one thing about him. He doesn't miss many games.
Yeah.
Now, I want a clause in the contract. I said this on Twitter. There's a clause in the contract which he has to sign. It says, I agree that if there's a minute left and it's a 2-point game, I'm not going to get that look in my eye when I cross midcourt, take 2 dribbles, and throw up a 27-footer, which I'd never make without ever looking at a teammate. That drives me crazy about him because I know before he shoots, he's going to shoot, right? You can see it. You can, if he gets the ball over there near midcourt or he brings the ball across midcourt and the game's on the line, he's going to miss a 27-footer. It's 100%. Do what you do. Look for a teammate here and drive to the basket. But yeah, I mean, he's a hell of a player, and what they got to figure out, I think we all agreed, is how does he get to the basket when the big stiff is sitting stands playing down there next to the hoop, right?
Well, there is footage from the practice facility last week that they were working on lob passes you can probably count on less than 3 digits how many times Anthony Edwards threw a lob to Rudy Gobert last season.
Yes.
They were practicing it together a couple weeks ago inside Mayo Clinic Square. So there is hope.
They gotta figure out something. They definitely do, because he, the number one thing that stops Ant from getting to the basket is Rudy Gobert being down there with with a defender, right? That's the number one thing that took that away from him, which was his left hand on the drive is phenomenal, but he couldn't get to the basket because the big lug was standing down there and and totally incapable of getting the hell out of the way either. So anyway, but it's people love him. That's the great thing. I think one of the big reasons that they had such good enthused crowds last season, and not in the league they were 25th or something, but for Target Center it was an amazing atmosphere, and I think he's probably the main reason, don't you guys?
Yeah, well, we were talking about this. I can't remember which show it was, one of the shows this week, but that if you look at all the young players since Kevin Garnett that have been like the Kevin Love, Ricky Rubio to Karl Anthony Towns to Andrew Wiggins, when it came time for those players to get the max deal after their rookie deal is over, right? There was always a thing. So Kevin Love, it was more about David Kahn wanted to preserve the 5-year max for Rubio, maybe. So he offered the 4-year to Kevin, and Kevin got offended. And then Rubio got injured and never became valuable enough. But then Wiggins, we were all kind of unsure, and Glenn had to look him in the eye. And then Cat waited like 2 months to sign him. This is the first time in like 20 years where a young player that everyone just agrees, yep.
Yes, yep, he got, good. You gave him the money. Guys, Andrew was, what are you doing? What? I mean, is he going to promise to be interested?
Yeah.
And that, as we've talked about it, if you want to rate Tibbs' disasters, that's number one. Giving him the contract so you couldn't give it to Butler, who then would have been a happy man. Everybody thinks it's this big dissension. Butler was bad because he didn't get paid. That was why. It wasn't. And then he decided Cat and Wiggy were wimps, but I guess he and that Wiggy actually got along. So it was all basically aimed at Cat.
It was mostly Cat, yeah.
But he would have stayed. Of course, he would have been unhappy after, he proved that. Now Miami had to, there was a little drama about whether he was going to stay after getting to the NBA Finals and getting beat. There was a little, although 80% of the dramas in the NBA is all made up anyway, right? I mean,
there's a lot of it right now too.
They got to have something to talk about on the Damian Lillard. What? You're making $250 million. What's the problem? Shut up.
It's not the money. No, it's not the money. He wants to win a championship.
But that's, go ahead, do it.
He's not going to in Portland. His according to Woj though, his report yesterday was his agent is calling teams and saying if you're not the Heat and you trade for him, you're going to get a very unhappy player, which I love. It's hilarious.
Only the
unhappy.
It is. I said this the other day. What a league. You could be a complete moron who's totally unreliable and you still get paid. Kyrie Irving. I mean, they just gave him $50 a year for 4 years or something. Dallas put themselves in that situation by trading for him, bringing him in and ruining the whole operation down there because he had a couple of really good games before he didn't give a damn anymore. But, you could be an idiot and we'll still pay you. Malik Beasley just got a deal in Boston, right?
Well, it was
Milwaukee.
It was a minimum deal.
Yeah, but what do you want him for?
He can shoot threes.
You might pull in his driveway. You might pull in his driveway and get shot. For God's sakes, it's
his lessons, Pat. I'm sure he's fine now.
Oh God, yeah, he's terrific. He's fine. But Milwaukee is. It's incredible how there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do stupid enough to not get a new contract. It's amazing.
Well, so the Lillard thing is the KG thing from 15 years ago. It's been like we're all right. You got this great player. He's never won a championship. The roster is in shambles, and the guy's in his early 30s, right? Just like KG was like in his early 30s, and but he's loyal. He doesn't want to, burn the bridge with the fan base and stuff. But finally, it's like he demanded a trade, but it was less of a I demanded trade. It was more, all right, come on, let's find me a home where I can.
Is he going to be like Kevin and then be mad because he got traded? Kevin is still bitter because he got traded from here, even though he got to go win his NBA title. So.
Because Glenn, though, when like a year after he went to Boston, Glenn sat down and said something along the lines of Kevin had sort of given up or wasn't trying.
Tanked it.
Right.
Kevin had tanked it at the end.
Who was coaching then? Told him not to play. Didn't they have him not play the last 5 games so they could?
Dwayne Casey, right? Wasn't Dwayne Casey the coach?
Or Dwayne Casey?
Or no, because Dwayne Casey got fired and McHale took over. It might have been. Was it Whitman that last year, or
Randy
was
Whitman?
McHale?
Oh God,
it was either McHale or Whitman at the very end for KG, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, it is kind of that way. But I mean, what obligation does Portland have to trade him if they don't get what they want? None.
Well, I mean, they would. I mean, I think if you're Portland, you could either keep banging your head into a wall with Damian Lillard and a bunch of young players and miss the playoffs and get nothing for him. But Portland should trade him.
Oh, they should.
Portland should get assets for him. But the problem now is Miami has nothing to offer. They don't have any first-round picks till like 28.
No. Yeah, right. Now they got Tyler Hero, right? Yes. You can still get Tyler Hero if you want him, right?
Yeah,
but Dame has to give Portland a list of like 5 teams he deems competitive. Like it can't just be I've got no protection not to be traded, but if I don't go to Miami, I'm going to huff and puff and blow the house. I mean, give Portland 5 teams.
I've seen Timberwolves fans say our team should get in there. Hey, that's a good idea. Let's have a $400 million payroll in 2 years and see. You're with the restrictions and the extra cost, you'd have $1 billion payroll. These guys can't come up with their money to pay Glenn Taylor. How the hell are they going to pay this contract?
Well, ideally, if you did make that call, you'd ship one of those contracts out somehow. But the problem is like you're going to offer them Gobert if they don't want Cat. Like it's kind of tough.
Well, but I mean, how would if Damian Lillard? I can't win here. Get me the hell out of here. And then you're going to send Cat there? I don't think so. I don't think Cat's. It'd have to be a.
There'd have to be like 7 teams involved. Yeah.
Portland's in a good situation though. They don't have to take back money, do they?
Well, you would have to match like within 25% either way of Damian's.
Why?
Contract.
They're not over the cap, are they?
They might have a little wiggle room. But the problem is if when they send out Lillard's contract, the team that likely acquires him is going to be over the cap. So that team's going to have to send money back to Portland. So
God, I would. My math. I'm very good in math. I'm not good enough to figure out either the NFL cap or the NBA.
And the NBA is great because the NBA has a salary cap, but then they have like 3 luxury tax levels with different ramifications, and that creates multipliers, and it's a mess. Yeah. I
wonder how you always hear about the Wild. I mean, I wrote it, but the Wild has a 95% renewal rate for next year. I wonder how the off-season sales are going for the Wolves. They don't have the big season ticket base like them, but getting Anthony signed and knowing he's going to be here has got to help. People like him, Yeah, he maybe shouldn't stay. He should maybe stay off the video commenting on the sexual preferences of people, but he apologized profusely enough for that. I think to get off the hook, don't you?
Ant shows you, Patrick, that if you look like you have a semblance of joy and fun playing a sport, people. I mean, that's the Cat's problem. Cat walks around moping and like bitching and moaning constantly. Ant shows you that if you're good at what you do and you appear to enjoy your craft, people will say, "Hey, this guy's fun to watch."
Now, am I wrong? But when he finally came back this year, Cat did not have many moments where he looked uninvolved. I thought in the playoffs he wasn't great, but he was also mismatched with Jokic and those guys. But I thought he actually really tried. It just sometimes it didn't work out. But I don't think when things weren't going well that he stopped playing.
Yeah, I think it's not. I don't think it was an effort thing this year, but there were times where he just got either strategically taken out of games or he just becomes a scattershot of foul trouble. And why is he a mismatch? Like, why at this point in his career is he getting that outplayed by Jokic as the former number one pick? That's my question. It's like 5 years ago, if you would have surveyed the NBA, front offices, they would have said, "Oh, Cat's got the higher upside than this second round galoot," right? But he's just like plateaued and kind of.
I do give him benediction though for the first 20 games of the year when he's what am I supposed to do with this guy?
Yeah.
This big guy playing in here. I mean, you want me to change completely, but you don't. Finch at times said, remember the Cat had like second halves where he got 3 shots or something, and he made it sound like Cat wasn't doing anything to get the ball, and maybe he didn't know where he was supposed to go. I don't know. It was a formula that they did not have worked out when the season started. That was for sure.
Yeah.
I still cannot, and I've said it 100 times, figure out what he was thinking, what Tim Connolly was thinking. I just can't figure it out. But Rudy Gobert, a non-athlete in the middle of this offense, I still don't understand it at all.
It's possible that ownership got excited or something. I don't know.
I think a lot of it is, and some of us came around. I said, okay, well, maybe I figured they had to know what they were doing. But when you look at retrospect, it's
never assume that, Patrick.
It's hard to understand what the hell he was doing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But luckily, this draft, they would have drafted what, 18th or 19th. It was non-existent anyway. Once you got past about the first 2 guys, nobody gave a damn about anybody. They were just throwing darts anyway. I'd rather have Luka Garza back than whoever you would have picked the 18th or 19th in this draft.
Well, the guy they got 33rd, Leonard Miller, is going to be a rotation guy before Luka Garza this year. I think they brought Garza back on a 2-way, but he's about 16th on their depth chart. So
yeah, don't give up on Luka. Luka's
great. Kicks ass in Des Moines.
He's a quad A baseball player. He's going to hit 35 home runs in the Pacific Coast League and then hit 205 in the big league.
If you gave him 15 minutes instead of 15 minutes for Rudy, it would have been about the same, with a little more offense from Garza. You had a better player for $3 million than you're paying this guy 40. Damn near 40. Yeah. Walker Kessler cost you 3. He does the same thing as Gobert's going to do for 38. Jeez. Gee whiz.
Oh my God. Hey, before we say goodbye here, we got the Twins and Orioles this weekend clinging to the division lead here. What do you see before the All-Star break?
I do see a little more life in the operation. We talked about it yesterday that Correa leading off he's not the classic leadoff hitter, but you are saying, okay, you're making all the money. Let's get things started here. Let's show us how to play baseball. But they still, even though Pablo made it a walkthrough, they still only had 5 hits on Wednesday. They're not exactly mashing the ball since they had the come to Carlos meeting in 10 days ago. But you look now, I guess I got to give up on my Whiteys. I thought the Whiteys had the team. They got beat. They're bad. I was watching the end of their game with the Blue Jays yesterday. It's 0-0. Lance Lynn has given up 2 hits. Then he leaves, and they'd only given up 1 hit. And all of a sudden, in the 11th inning, the White Sox insist they score 6 runs. The White Sox kicked it all over the place, didn't make any plays, and they gave them that game. And then Toronto came back and won the second game too. So they're 15 games under 500. The Whiteys.
Yeah, well, good luck.
Ain't gonna happen.
Nope.
All right.
No. All right, Pat. Enjoy your weekend.
Sure, I see.
We'll talk to you next Monday.
Anybody going to the yard tonight? I'll be at the yard. You
I'll
going
be
to the yard?
at a fan. I'll be in a suite tonight. Actually,
Way to
Wow.
go.
Whoa.
Be in a
You
suite.
moved
Be in a
up
suite.
from you've moved up from one ticket in the third deck or wherever the hell you were. All right. Good enough.
I'll see you there. Bye.
All right, Pat. Yeah, or if you're not at the ballpark, maybe you can be on a lake, courtesy of our friends at Power Lodge and Miller Marine, one of these badass Bennington pontoons, perhaps a little throttle therapy this summer, Judd.
Can you just think about this? Saturday and Sunday, right? It's going to be nice out. You're out on the lake in your Bennington, enjoying it, as you just said. Throttle
Judd.
therapy.
There's me.
There's Judd right there.
In fact, perhaps you've got the Twins game on. How about that?
There's
Best
me.
of both worlds. Twins game on. You're on the lake enjoying a beverage. Yes, this is the time of year where you can definitely let your hair down a little bit and enjoy. And there's no better way to do it than on a Bennington pontoon.
Yeah, and if you don't have hair, you can still get on a Bennington pontoon.
It's a figure of speech, of course.
PowerLodge.com or MillerMarine.com. See you guys.